Today we will be discussing on ways to boost our immunity. You know, there are lots of food supplements and immunity booster packets that are flooding the supermarket. But whether they work for real or not, that's something yet to be proved. But today we will be discussing on effective, proven, scientifically verified ways to boost our immunity, to enhance our body's immune mechanism against the dreaded coronavirus and other sorts of pathogens. So, we have already moved a year into the pandemic, experiencing second wave somewhere, third waves, fourth waves elsewhere. But we are yet to have any definitive mechanism, any definitive medicine, any definitive drug that can kill the novel coronavirus and cure us of the disease that we have named COVID-19. We have antibiotics like azithromycin, we have antibiotics like doxycycline that helps us defeat bacteria like eColi, Staph aureus, or maybe we have antivirals even like Acyclovir that kills the herpes virus. But we have no such antidote against the novel coronavirus. In such a situation, even to this day, we have to depend on our body's own mechanism, that is our body's inbuilt defense mechanism, or something that we call natural immunity or inborn or innate immunity, to decide whether the COVID-19 disease becomes severe in us or whether it passes off as a mild or even asymptomatic infection. That is, people who are having the coronavirus in their body, they are behaving, their body mechanism, their defense mechanism are behaving differently. So some have mild disease, some experience no disease at all, while some experience very severe disease that can result in morbidity, extreme morbidity and mortality. But what are those factors that help decide? Now we all know that immunity is multifactorial, with genes, environmental factors, food habits, all having their role. What we are genes is something that we are born with, we won't be able to change that. But there are foods, there are other practices that can help us boost our immunity, and that is something we must be knowing. Immunity boosters that are flooding the supermarket, I would like to comment on them because I have very little knowledge, and so do have all those regulatory agencies, because most of them are there in the market without any definitive proof or anything like that. We are not going to talk about that, but let us focus on things that can really help us boost our immunity and fight off the coronavirus. First and foremost thing, which is very much understated, is sleep. Nothing is more important than letting our body to rest and relax and rebuild itself. That throughout the day, that stress that we have gone through, many cells have died, decayed, but they need time for regeneration. Our body is just like a machine. It can't just run non-stop for hours together. It needs some rest. The more we give the body the rest, the more will it get time to equip itself to near normalcy. Just like a machine which needs to be operate at optimum efficiency, our body also needs with optimum efficiency, be it it's all types of cells, be it the normal skin cells, be it our heart cells, be it our WBCs that help us in our immunity. So sleep is very important, and an ordinary human being should sleep at least 8 hours a day for optimum efficiency. There are people who will be saying that they sleep 2-3 hours a day and that's sufficient, that keeps them fresh, but maybe they're Superman. But for the ordinary man, I think 8 hours sleep is something that's very much needed, except for compelling reasons, compelling circumstances that may prevent us from sleeping to the optimum level for a day or two, or maybe a week, or maybe a few days. But on a regular basis, 8 hours of sleep is very important. Even 1 or 2 hours more won't be doing you any harm. In fact, those 10-20 minutes of those afternoon naps are extremely powerful. They help build our body in between whatever little damage that has been done in the early hours of the day. Those powerful naps help. And then, other than sleep, that is one thing is very important, is freshly cooked food. By cooked, I mean the food that has been heated, because as we know that the best sanitizer for any food is heat. Heat kills all those bacteria and fungi which stay resistant to most antibiotics, to most available sanitizers. And we all know that we can't just infiltrate all such spray any type of pesticides, insecticides or sanitizer just in our food. That's we have to save ourselves also. We can just go like a madman and end up taking poison instead of food. So we have to take some balanced or properly cooked food rich in carbohydrates, proteins, fats, which are usually there in our daily habits. Daily habits of our food may vary. Our food habits may vary from region to region, culture to culture, race to race, but that's a different thing. But whatever we usually have as a staple diet, that's usually a very balanced one, loaded with all the necessary nutrients. Now there are certain foods also that we must know, that many of us are already knowing, which are loaded with lots of vitamin C, then zinc, and then proteins. Now regarding the foods rich in vitamin C, we all know citrus fruits like lemon, oranges, strawberries, guava, they're rich in vitamin C, and vitamin C is an effective fighter against different viruses and other pathogens. That is something beyond debate. No wonder vitamin C is today included in WHO, that is the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. It is because of this reason they help our body's immune mechanism fight off any pathogen. In fact, we know that taking vitamin C during the flu, there is a common flu, helps us reduce our symptom duration, helps us reduce our symptoms, in fact, to a great extent, and it's expected that they are going to help us in fighting the coronavirus also. Now another food, that is the zinc, those foods that are rich in zinc like milk, eggs, meat, pulses, the nuts, all these serve as important sources of protein also. These proteins are the foundation block of our body, the foundation block of the various antibodies, various T cells and other important immune mechanisms. They are the building blocks, as well as they serve as important sources of zinc. Apart from food and sleep, there are other things also that we should do. That is when we are doing nothing. That is, we need to de-stress ourselves. De-stress. That is, throughout the day we go through lots of stress, not just due to our physical exertion but also mental exertion. Even during lockdown, if we are restricted to our home, to indoors, that results in a lot of mental stress as well. But we need to do something to reduce this stress, and stress is not something that's very much helpful for our immunity. So stress busters, maybe a simple music, a meditation exercise, even watching a comedy series or any other activity that you just love to, that gives you joy. So removing stress is very important. With stress in your body, in your mind, your immune mechanism is not going to fight something very optimum level. So de-stressing yourself actually helps. And another thing that must not be overlooked is to have optimum weight. I would not say that you just lose weight. Yes, you lose weight if you are obese, but if you are healthy, if you already have optimum weight, you have no reason to lose weight. In fact, being anorexic also does not help. We need to maintain a standard weight, that is neither obese nor anorexic, because obesity or anorexia both, that is being too thin or being too fat, neither is good for a COVID infection. And then I would like to say something that many of us will be listening but may not be following. But it's better to follow, better late than never. So that's, you understand, I think you have already guessed. Yes, I will ask you to stop your daily dose of alcohol and smoking. Smoking, is the cause of lots of cancer, COPD and all other evils. But even during COVID-19 also, it does not help. It weakens our respiratory epithelium and makes it vulnerable to invasion by all this COVID-19 virus, that is the coronavirus. So why will you just let your epithelium respiratory tract just get weak? It's just like keep making your wall the weak. So if your wall is weak, then the foreign invaders, that is the virus, can easily penetrate into your system and in large numbers and in very fast. That gives your body's immune mechanism too less time to fight off also. And drinking, what will I say? If your liver is busy in metabolizing your alcohol, then when will it find the time to build your antibodies and other important proteins that are required to fight all these viral pathogens and like this? It's like your textile factory. You have a textile production factory that is producing fashion outfits for a fashion week at a time when the world needs PPEs and masks. So it's a case of misplaced priorities, and that does not help. And last but not the least is to get vaccinated. Yes, with vaccines getting rolled out across the world as per priority groups, just don't miss it when your turn comes. Even if the vaccine that you are getting gives you 80% protection, it's still better than staying unvaccinated with 0% protection. 80% is definitely something better than nothing. That's an old dictum, and that holds good here also. Later, maybe a year down the line, we will be getting even better vaccines. These are first generation vaccines. We won't be expecting even higher percentages from them. But later on, we will getting second generation, third generation vaccines, maybe polyvalent vaccines against various strains. But when we will get that, when we will have access to that, we will definitely taking that. But till then, to get that great jab, we have to take these jabs that are available now. Vaccine hesitancy is definitely not going to help. And in fact, that's how we fought against the polio virus. The easily administrable, the oral polio virus, the convenient polyvalent strain drops that we have, those vaccines were not available initially. Initially, we had those intramuscular jabs like the COVID vaccines that we are presently having. But though it was those intramuscular injections that helped reduce the polio menace to a great extent, and the final work was done by this oral poliovirus vaccines. So we have to follow that. In fact, due to scientific progress, we are getting these intramuscular vaccines in less than a year since the arrival of this pandemic situation. But in previous years, we used to have decades before we got a vaccine. But now at least we have a vaccine. We have to get vaccinated, and getting vaccinated gives you acquired immunity against the virus, and that actually helps, because we have discussed natural ways to increase our natural immunity, our body's inborn immunity, but those are required till the time we get this acquired immunity. Our body needs both natural immunity and acquired immunity, that is the vaccines. Now till the time we get the vaccines, we have to rely solely on natural immunity. Then that's why food, sleep, physical activity, maintaining optimum weight, staying away from alcohol, and the smoking, they really help, and they are required to help you stay alive and stay afloat to get the jab, to get the ultimate COVID jab that's going to end and finish off this pandemic for well and good.
Stay happy, stay healthy.